Right. So the theme that we've been working on the last few weeks has been how we pay attention, or the kind of attentiveness that we have during the yoga positions. Though one of the things that Heinz Grill writes is as our attentiveness grows, he terms it that there arises a force that can shape the asana. A force arises that gives shape to the asana, and it takes shape out of the thought that we think. It almost feels as if it happens by itself. It's almost as if we can witness the asana beginning to take a shape, as if it happens naturally. So that's the theme I'd like to focus on today. We're going to think a specific thought, and we're going to watch the body take the shape out of the thought. And the thought we're going to think for all of our positions is the inherent uprightness of the spine. We imagine that the spine has its own inherent flowing force that makes it straighten up. We're going to think that thought, and we're going to watch. We pay attention to our position in the yoga, and we just observe how out of this thought the spine starts to take that shape of uprightness. We'll start with the position called sunrise. And I'd like you to just have a look at the position. It's a movement that we do a lot. So we start by hanging down like this, and you're very used to this. And when we come up in a very specific way, because we want to have this idea that the movement shapes itself. So we're going to flow up very lightly, but thinking this thought: the spine has its inherent uprightness. And gradually the body flows and opens and grows into that uprightness. We're going to do this, let's do it about 5 times. We're taking our time, we'll do it a bit more slowly than I just showed you. So if you come into this hanging position, first of all, we want to use our senses. We want to experience this picture. The legs are very firm and straight. The upper body just hangs, really relaxed. Shoulders, neck, arms relaxed. The breath flowing. So now we think this thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine, and we can start to flow upwards. Legs draw together, and we watch, we witness as this position unfolds and grows into a greater uprightness. This is the standing half moon. There's a line right through the spine, including the upper part. So the chest becomes a little bit raised up, and the arms flow back. You can't see my fingers, but they come to a point at the ends. And take the hands down. Let's do the second time. Rolling down. Breath flowing. And think the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Once again, we flow upwards. Legs draw together. We observe the spine seems to center along itself. This force of uprightness that lives in it flows upwards. The inherent uprightness of the spine that can continue even beyond the spine, as if that force continues through the arms and hands and fingers and beyond. Take the hands down again. Let's flow down a third time. Just become calm as you hang. Free breath. Neck relaxed. Shoulders. Blow up again, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Watch the position take shape. Spine tightens and becomes stronger. There's more tension and yet without being tense. Hands down. Fourth time. Hang. Observe. Think the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. We flow upwards. Grow. And we feel when the position really has its harmonious form with that flowing force all the way through the spine, the shaping force. Okay, one final time, coming down. Become still. Once we've really let go, then we're ready to begin anew with the uprightness. Blowing up again, the inherent uprightness of the spine. We watch it take shape. Building up its tension. As if that force to give it that long flowing shape lives within it. And take the hands next to your sides. So let's come into the sun prayer now. We'll stay with the same thought that the spine has an inherent energy that carries it into an uprightness. Hands together. Rise up. We think that thought, we let the spine grow. Take the hands down, we glide outwards. Long spine. Right foot back. Opening up into the half moon. Then the plank. Knees, chest and face down. Cobra. Downward dog. Right foot forward. Half moon. Left foot forward. Glide out. Swing up, standing half moon. And take the hands by your sides. Hands together. Rise upwards. Glide out in front. Left foot back. Half moon. Plank. Knees, chest and face down. Cobra. Downward dog. Left foot forward. Grow. Right foot forward. Lengthen out. Swing up and lengthen. Hands by your sides. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. Do a second round, hands together. Rising up, let's stay with the idea the spine has an inherent uprightness, so it can really flow up. And let's come out a little bit faster this round, gliding outwards. Right foot back. You can really bring that flowing movement into it, streaming up. Coming into the plank. Knees down, chest and face down. Cobra. Downward dog. Right foot forward. Half moon. Left foot forward. Stretch out in front. Standing half moon. Lengthen. Hands by your sides. Hands together. Standing half moon and grow. Opening the chest. Gliding forwards. Left foot back. Half moon and lift up and open the chest. Come into the plank. Knees down, chest down. Cobra. Downward dog. Left foot forward. Half moon again, growing, opening. And the right foot forward. Lengthen out. Swing upwards. Hands by your sides. One more round, hands together. Growing. Coming forwards. Right foot back. Half moon. Plank. Knees, chest and face down. Cobra. Downward dog. Right foot forward. Half moon. Left foot forward. Lengthen out in front. Swing up. Grow. Hands by your sides. Hands together. Gliding up and open all the way up. Come down and glide out in front. Left foot back. Half moon. And then plank. Knees, chest and face down. Cobra. Downward dog. Left foot forward. Half moon. Right foot forward. Stretch out. Swing up. Grow. Hands by your sides. So, for the tiptoe pose, let's come down like this. Maybe I'll show you at this angle. The important thing is that the knees aren't too bent up to the chest. But if we want to think this thought about the inherent uprightness of the spine, you need to have your knees more at a horizontal plane. You're balancing on your toes. Let's just think this thought of the inherent uprightness of the spine in this balancing position. Okay, come back down onto your knees. So we're going to do practice the arm movement first, just in a kneeling position. And we're going to really pay attention to the spine And think this thought that the spine has within it this inherent energy that just flows upwards. I'm going to do a few arm movements, gliding up, but thinking that thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Let's take the arms up to this V. Stay with that thought. Remain aware of your spine. So our theme at the moment is that if we really pay attention, we can see how a shaping force develops the movement out of the thought. Pay attention and think the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Let's bring the arms up a bit higher now. The inherent uprightness of the spine. And eventually we can take the hands together to the heart. It's a gentler position now, a more centered position, but the spine can keep its inherent uprightness. Let's do that a movement again, just still in the kneeling position, and then finally we'll try it on the toes. We think the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. We glide upwards, really focusing on the spine itself. Bringing the arms into a V. Remain focused on the spine. The inherent uprightness. Now take the arms up a bit higher. And eventually the fingers come together, but the important thing is the spine. And now we stay with that idea, the inherent uprightness of the spine, as we take the hands to the heart center. Take the hands down again. Right, let's come onto our toes. And we'll do exactly the same movement. Now in the balance, bring the thighs into a horizontal position, your chest open. Focus on the spine once again. The inherent uprightness of the spine. We glide gently up with the arms, keeping our awareness on the spine. Come into a V. The inherent uprightness of the spine. Take the hands a bit higher. The movement actually happens in the spine. Naturally, the hands come together. They form a point at the fingertips. And finally, to the heart center. And then come back down. Let's come into a sitting position. The final exercise we're going to do is the shoulder stand. So we'll have to do a few repetitions with this to loosen up the spine. Once again, the spine's going to flow upwards, but this time upside down. Let's start with a few more dynamic movements. Rolling back, taking the arms above your head. Just be aware of your head, shoulders, and arms resting on the ground. And allow your breath to come into a free flow. Come back to a sitting position. Take the arms up above the head. The inherent uprightness of the spine. We can grow through the spine, right through the arms to the fingertips. Come back again. Let's come back into the same position. Take one arm above the head and the other arm. All right, this time, once your breath has come to a calmness, we can think those words, the inherent uprightness of the spine, but this time it's flowing in the reverse direction from the heart center through the spine. We can observe it coming into a little bit of a movement upwards. The arms are still above your head on the ground. Come back again. Back up to a sitting position, knees bent, flowing upwards. Think those words again, the inherent uprightness of the spine. So we can really find quite a force through the spine in this way. Return, once again, same movement. Arms above the head. Find where the heart center is on your spine. The beginning of the movement. Forced into it, we think it. Spine has an inherent uprightness. We allow the movement to flow upwards so we can lengthen the spine a bit in that region. Return again. Sitting position. Rowing through the spine and through the arms. See if you can even take your legs off the ground into the sitting balance. A little bit more strenuous. All right, this time we're going to come back to the shoulder stand, but keeping the hands on the mat behind your back. Roll into the position again. Head, neck, shoulders relaxed. Arms relaxed on the ground. We think this thought, the inherent uprightness that comes from the heart center through the spine in the inverted position. Shoulders stay resting on the ground. Even if the body feels very stiff, nonetheless, we just think that thought and see how far the body will naturally come. Return again. Sitting position. Raise the arms, flowing up. See if you can come into the balance. This time we're going to come into the shoulder stand, clasping the hands and moving the arms along the ground like that. So the shoulders come closer together. We'll start in the position we've just done. Rolling back up, arms resting on the ground behind you. Wait until you can really feel your shoulders resting on the ground. It's a little bit of movement that has come into the upper spine. Now you can bring the shoulders and the arms close together, clasp your fingers so that the arms can move along the floor a little bit more powerfully to form a kind of lever. The body can flow up a little bit more out of the heart center, but without forcing, thinking the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Once again, Into the sitting balance. And finally, we'll come into the actual shoulder stand itself. Roll back, up. Shoulders and arms rest on the ground, first of all. Clasp your fingers. Make the arms narrow to form that lever that we just did. And then you can take your hands onto the middle of your back. Head, neck, shoulders and upper arms rest on the ground. And the spine flows up out of its inherent uprightness. And return again. Let's come one more time into this sitting balance. Really rising up from the heart center. Let's hold it a little bit longer. The inherent uprightness of the spine, particularly from the heart center up through the upper spine into the arms. And we'll come back down. Let's finish off in a sitting position. So our theme today has been that if we pay attention to the body, really paying attention to its form, we can witness how a shaping force takes hold out of the thought that we think. So we've thought the thought, the inherent uprightness of the spine. Let's just witness one final time our own spine. And however, on the one hand, we observe that spine, and on the other hand, we think the thought. We can feel it coming into an uprightness. But it's a very natural, flowing, unforced uprightness. The inherent uprightness of the spine. Okay, and let's finish our session there.